Yeah, really. Colors, colors, colors. Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 5, Karma Yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. Karma Yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. But chapter 3 was Karma Yoga. So chapter 5 again, Karma Yoga. I look for, and this is also known as, aka, também conhecido por, aka, Karma Sannyas Yoga. This is another name for this chapter. It's very interesting because karma is work. Sannyas is not work. So what is this? A karma sannyasa yoga? Work? To work or not to work? This is the question. Let's go then. Hope you like it. It's a very beautiful but short chapter. So let's enjoy it. And we start with the summary. Chapter 5, Karma Yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. So first of all, action, attitude. Outwardly performing all actions, but inwardly renouncing their fruits, the wise man, purified by the fire of transcendental knowledge, attains peace, detachment, forbearance, spiritual vision, and bliss. Guys, Arjuna starts today. You see, number 1, verse 1, Arjuna said, "Oh Krishna, first of all, you ask me to renounce work. And then again, you recommend work with devotion. Now, will you kindly tell me definitely which of the two is more beneficial? Work or not work?" Again, he was confused about that. Verse 2. The personality of Godhead, Krishna, replied, "The renunciation of work and working devotion are both good for liberation. But of the two, working devotional service is better than renunciation of work. One who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities is known to be always renounced. Such a person, free from all dualities, easily overcomes material bondage and is completely liberated, almighty armed Arjuna." You see? So the person, when he says the fruits of his activities, is a karmi. A karmi, the guy that practices karma yoga, that doesn't hate or desire the fruits of the activities. This guy is known to be always renounced, a sannyasi. Such a person, free from dualities, overcomes easily. A very interesting adverb. Easily. It's not difficult. Easily overcomes material bondage and is completely liberated. If the person is on that platform, of course. Verse 4. Oh, this Krishna is one of my favorites, a very beautiful painting. Only the ignorant speak of devotional service, translated as karma yoga, as being different from the analytical study of the material world, Sankhya. Those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself well to one of these paths achieves the results of both. Five, one who knows that the position reached by means of analytical study can also be attained by devotional service, and who therefore sees analytical study and devotional service to be on the same level, see things as they are. He's giving something extra from the previous verse. You see, it's the same idea. It's comparing karma and sannyas and saying that in the end, they're not different from each other. They are on the same level. And what's the difference? The difference is our nature. Some people are more given to books, study, meditate. Some people are more active, do something, do another thing, do. So I think the difference is just our nature. And then you follow your nature. That would be the key there. Get to know yourself, get to know, oh, do you like working? Work with devotion. Oh, do you like studying? Study with devotion. It's the same stuff. Come on, Arjun. Merely renouncing all activities, yet not engaging in the devotional service of the Lord, cannot make one happy. One person, yes, we can't be happy. We cannot be happy just by renouncing the activities and not engaging in the service of the Lord. But a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the supreme without delay. In that moment, when you serve with that consciousness, you are connected with the supreme. Jai Govinda. One who works in devotion, who is a pure soul, and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. Oh my, for me, one of the most beautiful uh, verses, shloka, from the chapter 5 is this one here. Yes, this idea. If you work with your heart, actually, we're going to see that this devotion he mentions cleans our hearts. Yes, and then we can become dear to everyone and everyone dear to us. Yes, always working but never entangled. So always free. This is freedom, never entangled. Verses 8 and 9. A person in the divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, go to the toilet, evacuate xixi, cocô, evacuating, receiving or opening or closing his eyes. So, whatever you do, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof from them. It's the body, it's the nature. Yes. So you see, it's not abandoned. No, like really, that person is engaged in living. This is life, but free in a free way. Yes. Verse 10. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. You know, the lotus is there, the water, but it doesn't touch the water, it's above the water. And so Krishna on this verse is comparing a lotus leaf to someone who performs their duty, who works without attachment, with that connection with the Supreme. The yogis, abandoning attachment, act with body, mind, intelligence, and even with the senses, only for the purpose of purification. So there is an attitude, action with the body, action with the mind, action with intelligence, action with the senses. But the goal is to purify the body, purify the mind, purify the intelligence, and even purify the senses. The steadily devoted soul attains unadulterated peace because he offers the result of all activities to me. Whereas a person who is not in union with the divine, who is greedy for the fruits of his labor, becomes entangled. 13. When the embodied living being, we, in the body, controls his nature and mentally renounce all actions, he resides happily in the city of nine gates, the material body, neither working nor causing work to be done. Verse 14. The embodied spirit, the spirit in the body, embodied spirit, master of the city of his body, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature. Nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of the ignorance which covers their real knowledge. When, however, one is enlightened with the knowledge by which nescience is destroyed, nescience, stupidity, then his knowledge reveals everything, as the sun lights up everything in the daytime. Krishna is comparing the knowledge, Sankhya. He's comparing the knowledge with the sun. When there is sun, we can see everything in the daytime. When knowledge is present, we can see. When one's intelligence, mind, faith, and refuge are all fixed in the Supreme, then one becomes fully cleansed of misgivings through complete knowledge and thus proceeds straight on the path of liberation. Again, Krishna is pointing to this point of fixing our mind, our intelligence, our faith, our refuge in the Supreme. Why? Because that cleans our ignorance. Yes, and then through, so you see, through complete knowledge, it cleans and thus proceeds straight on the path of liberation from then on. Yes, so what is the key? I think the key is this one here. Fixed in the Supreme. Hare Krishna. The humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahman, a teacher, a spiritual teacher, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater, an outcast. 19. Those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity have already conquered the conditions of birth and death. The goal of life. That's the goal of life, then, isn't it? They are flawless, like Brahman, and thus they are already situated in Brahman. Brahman is the light of the spirit. They are flawless, less, without no flaw, problem, error. Yeah, no error. Yes, like the light of the spirit. These people that cultivate the sameness, the equanimity of vision, of perspective of life. That's the way to conquer birth and death, according to Krishna. Yes, a person who neither rejoices upon achieving something pleasant nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant, who is self-intelligent, who is unbewildered, and who knows the science of God, is already situated in transcendence. Oh, this one really I loved doing. I was like, oh my God, this was very beautiful for me. I really, really loved this one. I only put one, by the way, you see, verse 21. Such a liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure, but is always in trance enjoying the pleasure within. In this way, the self realized person enjoys unlimited happiness, for he concentrates on the Supreme. Always in trance, enjoy pleasure within, enjoy unlimited, without limits, unlimited happiness. How? Concentrating on the Supreme. An intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery, which are due to contact with the material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them. Before giving up this present body, when we die, before that, if one is able to tolerate the urges of the material sense and check the force of desire and anger, control desire, control anger before we die, he is well situated and is happy in this world. One whose happiness is within, who is active and rejoices within, and whose aim is inward, is actually the perfect mystic. He is liberating the Supreme, and ultimately he attains the Supreme. Those who are beyond the dualities that arise from doubts, oh, I don't know, doubts, whose minds are engaged within, who are always busy working for the welfare of all living beings, and who are free from all sins, achieve liberation in the Supreme. This verse is quite interesting once it shows that not only these mystics are taking care of themselves within, but also they work for all living beings. You see, they're working for the welfare of all living beings. Yeah. Those who are free from anger and all material desires, who are self realized, self disciplined, and constantly endeavoring for perfection, are assured of liberation in the Supreme in the very near future, trying to get to perfection. Whether you prepare some couscous, or you're listening to a friend, or you're reading a book, or listening to a song, or driving. But whatever you do, that doesn't matter, as previously Krishna mentioned, always aiming for perfection. Verses 27, 28. Shutting out all external sense objects, keeping the eyes and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows. Meditation. Suspending the inward and outward breaths within the nostrils. Controlling the breath and thus controlling the mind, sense, and intelligence. So Krishna is saying that when we control our breathing, we can control the mind, the sense, and the intelligence. The transcendentalist aiming at liberation becomes free from desire, fear, and anger. One who is always in this state is certainly liberated. So he's not saying that they are not going to face fear or anger or desire. No. But whenever we are, and we all, maybe every day, especially nowadays, so easy to get confused, to get depressed, to get sad. Uh, but then, how can we control that? So Krishna said, control suspending the inward and outward breaths and concentrating the vision between. He's talking about meditation, controlling the air, the flow of air, and thus controlling the mind, the senses, and the intelligence by controlling the breath. This is amazing, really. And the one who is always in this state is certainly liberated. At last, verse 29. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. Pangs, the problems. There are problems, you see. He's not saying, oh, yes, when you come to me, there are no problems. No, no. But when we develop this consciousness, yes, and knowing the Lord as that the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifice, all austerities, the Lord of all all the universe, and the well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. Really, this was a very short chapter. Yes, Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness, also known as Karma Sannyas Yoga. Yes, Hare Krishna, guys. Thank you.